The Minnesota Timberwolves are just 3 games into the season, and we know how much things can change after such a small sample size. But there's some real juice in this Minnesota offense right now that we just didn't see last season or even on opening night against the Lakers. In the past 2 games, we've really seen the ball movement and offensive philosophy start to shine a little bit more, and while there's still plenty of work to go, their wire-to-wire win over the Raptors gave us another glimpse into who this team is aspiring to be offensively. To me, the main thing we're seeing from them is how effective they can be by running their offense out of the corners. When you really dig into their most successful offensive actions this season, and especially in this latest game against Toronto, you can see how dangerous they are coming out of those corner actions. Sometimes it's just going to be something as simple as empty corner pick and rolls. Here it's Ingles coming off this Gobert pin down. Gobert's such a great screener, so when he hits Ingles' man, Gobert's man has to step up, and then Gobert can slip behind the defense and catch uncontested lobs. And when the defense adjusts to the simplicity of that action, Minnesota can counterpunch themselves. Here's that same pin down action. This time Poeltl breaks off from Ingles and sticks with Gobert on the roll instead, but that turns this corner defender into the low man defender, and while he's focused on the ball coming downhill, Randle is backdooring him to the rim. It's just a super dangerous action when you have a bunch of playmakers and finishers on the roster. This time, instead of setting that wide pin down, Gobert streaks through to the dunker spot, Randle flows into the dribble handoff with Edwards, and when Edwards gets downhill and engages that big man, Gobert is there again for that easy lob finish. And that's just kind of the entry-level baseline for the stuff Minnesota is doing out of the corners right now. They love using this away action where you see the ball handler come up off a ball screen, play pitch and catch on the handoff, and then those 2 screeners flow into another corner pin down, and again you've got this big man in no man's land, with Conley coming at him off the ball screen and Gobert rolling in behind him to the rim. And again, this move is just the tip of the iceberg that allows them to pivot into other things when the defense adjusts. This time Toronto mixed up the coverage with the big jumping out at Conley, and Barnes on the backside here shuffling over to take away the rim. So the Wolves just swing the ball, McDaniels makes this cut to open up the corner, and even if they don't convert, it is a wide open corner 3 and a really great process on that counterpunch. I really like this version of that action with DiVincenzo and Alexander Walker kind of flipping the ball back and forth. Eventually the defense is going to mess up the switch like this, and a shooter like DiVincenzo can drift into an open pocket of space and find space for that jumper. Now I just think it's really important to have those counters as a change of pace within the same structure of offense. Like occasionally, instead of the screener peeling off to set that away pin down, he'll just step up into the ball screen and swing right into a quick pick and pop action, and you see how they've tilted the floor with one defender guarding that whole side of the court, and even with a great recovery closeout, there's defenders here having to worry about the drive while Randle sides in on the cut to get an easy bucket. Right now, this seems to be a team that is really dialed in on making defenses work from the corners. They're going to set a ton of pin downs, sometimes even on both sides of the floor, and trust that they can get downhill or find open shooters coming out of those actions. And it's not like they stay in the corners exclusively. They often use those bullets firing from the corner to get into the middle of the floor, where they can use multiple ball screeners to get into mid-pick and roll actions and try and find some profit that way as well. There's a reason really hammering a more structured and less randomized offense works better for this team. They have so many dynamic options, but I do think the flow they're looking for unfolds a little bit more successfully when they run more set plays and put the chess pieces in place a little bit more methodically. I mean, these corner twirl actions are a thing of beauty. Instead of coming right up off this pin down, Edwards twirls a tight corner around it, and then Conley can come up and work off the dribble handoff, while Randle drops into another pin down for Edwards to rock it off. The Raptors do a pretty decent job of switching and closing out during that possession, but that's just really tough to guard. Again, you have to have counters to the base action, and this time Edwards hits that little twirl action again, but now while Alexander Walker comes up to take the ball, he's setting a cross screen on the baseline for DiVincenzo, and he's sprinting baseline to come off a pin down and curl into a catch and shoot three that he's going to make more often than he misses like he does on this possession. You can really see the vision for the offense just from this game alone. Minnesota probably missed more makeable shots than they would have liked, but this game was a showcase in player movement that fostered ball movement and then eventually found good looks at the end of it all. Going forward, this has to be the blueprint for Minnesota. We didn't see it on opening night and we didn't see much of it in the first half of game 2, but now there's tape there for this team to build off, and I really think they can use it as a foundation for an awesome looking offense this season. Thanks again for watching Howls and Growls. Please subscribe for more.